Hello and welcome to Racers Now. In this video, we're going to be reviewing what happened over in Ireland over the weekend at the Dublin Racing Festival and what impact that might have had on the Cheltenham Festival post markets. The Cheltenham Festival now just 5 weeks away. But firstly, hopefully you can hear me even better than usual here on Racers Now, as the guys at Odds Now have sent me a brand new microphone. So fingers crossed that is working perfectly. But the Dublin Racing Festival. This could be a short and sweet video, really. 8 Grade 1 racers across the 2 days at Leopardstown. All 8 of those Grade 1s won by horses trained by Willie Mullins. Somewhat expected going into the weekend, if we're being honest, and he does dominate over there in Ireland and mainly dominates over in England as well in our Grade 1s. But 6 of those 8 winners from Willie Mullins in the Grade 1s were favourites. 4 of them odds on. We'll touch on them all in this video. And in many ways, it is as you were in terms of the Cheltenham Festival post markets as a result of the weekend going pretty much as expected. 5 weeks away now, the Cheltenham Festival, 5 weeks away, 4 days of the peak of the British and Irish, really, jump season. So plenty to look forward to. The horses that won that was expected to win, those 4 that were odds on, pretty much remain unchanged in their markets for the festival itself. El Fabiolo won the Dublin Chase and he's still odds on for the Champion Chase. He jumped to his right a little bit and made a couple of mistakes along the way, El Fabiolo. So he's not bomb-proof going into a potential clash with John Bon. Again, if they both turned up in the Champion Chase on day 2 of the Cheltenham Festival, El Fabiolo started the weekend odds on for the Champion Chase and he remained pretty much unchanged after his bloodless win in that Dublin Chase itself. Would I be taking El Fabiolo on at this stage? I'm not sure because he, like I say, he didn't look bomb-proof over the weekend, but you could say he was maybe playing to his level. Those in behind him, weren't up to much great shakes. It was a smallish field. It will be a tougher test at the Cheltenham Festival from John Bon. Hopefully he turns up. But yeah, I wouldn't be a backer or a layer of El Fabiolo at this stage. Let's be honest. He has already proven that he is a better horse than John Bon, particularly at the festival last year. John Bon does have a win over El Fabiolo in their earlier days. I think that was over hurdles at Aintree. But yeah, El Fabiolo, it's obvious, but he's still certainly the one to beat in the Champion Chase. Stateman at the Dublin Racing Festival at the weekend once again proved to be the best hurdler in Ireland. That is his 8th straight win on Irish soil. All 8 of those wins on Irish soil consecutively have been in Grade 1s. He's clearly the best hurdler in Ireland. He is unchanged pretty much for the Champion Hurdle at 7-2 second favourite. That is behind a horse called Constitution Hill. Does anyone remember Constitution Hill? Well, he is on course to rock up in the Cheltenham Hurdle on day 1 of the festival. We've only seen him race there twice, I think, this year, or is it once? I think we've only seen him at Christmas, Constitution Hill. Who remembers him? Well, he's Nicky Henderson, trained possibly the best hurdler we've seen since Isterbrack. Stateman is probably as good as ever. He's probably even a little bit better, actually, this season. But he is around at a time when there is a monster around, and that monster is called Constitution Hill. So again, Constitution Hill's already odds on for the Champion Hurdle, and Stateman is pretty much unchanged at 7-2. Some of the each-way thieves might be looking to back Stateman in doubles or trebles. SD suggested that on this channel last week at 7-2 on the basis that at the moment you can bet each-way 3 places, but will there be 8 or more runners on day 1 of the festival with Constitution Hill in there? Probably not. Empire Pass was 10 lengths behind Stateman in 3rd at the Dublin Racing Festival. Surely they have got to give this Empire Pass a try in the Stayers Hurdle, as I've been saying all season long. I mean, he might not stay. He might not stay this Empire Pass in the Stayers Hurdle, but he'll get no way near Constitution Hill in the Champion Hurdle. And he's already proven, as recently as last weekend in Dublin, that he can't get anywhere Stateman either. He's tripless at the moment in Empire Pass, but I would give him a chance in the Stayers Hurdle. And I know a couple in the comments from earlier in the season, way back in October, I said he was a potential play, a risky one at that, because he might not run. He still might not run, but in the Stayers Hurdle, I think some people have backed him at 20 at that kind of prices on the exchange. So we'll see what they do with him. But Stateman, as good as ever, and deservedly so, another Grade 1 under his belt. Galopin de Champs on Saturday stamped his authority on old rival Fast or Slow when winning the Irish Gold Cup. I mean, he looks better than ever to me, this Galopin de Champs. He's obviously got the stamina. He's obviously got a bit of speed as well about him that pretty much no other horses in the division have got. Galopen never looked like getting beat on Saturday as I was watching it. He's odds on across the board now to retain his Cheltenham Gold Cup title. That's on the Friday at the festival. Fast or Slow, who was second to Galopen de Champs on Saturday, is the second favourite currently in that market for the Gold Cup at 11-2. But yeah, Galopen de Champs, the last time that he met, the last two times that Galopen and Fast or Slow have met, Fast or Slow came out on top. But it must be said that Galopen de Champs has looked better than ever this season on his last couple of starts, it must be said. In that Lexus chase at Leopardstown over Christmas, he was sensational, didn't put a foot wrong. He probably wasn't quite as good on the form figures this weekend gone, but still, like I say, very much stamped his authority on Fast or Slow. And I think that argument of who is the best out of those two is now over for the time being. All as expected in terms of results and minimal impacts on the anti-post markets. Galopen de Champs, Stateman, and El Fabiolo already had well-established positions in their Cheltenham anti-post markets, and that's where they remain, having won at the weekend as expected. They were all odds on. So let's look at the winners at the Dublin Racing Festival that had made a change in the Cheltenham anti-post markets, if you like, had an impact. Ballyburn is the place to start there on Sunday. He won a Grade 1 novices hurdle. This Ballyburn, obviously, for Willie Mullins. He was already 7-2 for the Supreme, having won a maiden by 25 lengths at Christmas in Ireland. And it does take some winning those maiden hurdles in Ireland. I think, if you win a maiden hurdle in Ireland, particularly at one of the bigger tracks like Leopardstown, etc., you're already pretty much up to Grade 2 or Grade 3 winning form anyway. They're that competitive. There's that many runners, and that's just the way they do things over there in Ireland. So Ballyburn went from his maiden 25 length win, chucked into a Grade 1 on his next start over the weekend, and he was even more impressive, again winning by 7 lengths from the front for quite a lot of the race. Pushed out late on, as easy as you can. He's 7-4 for the opening race at the festival, the Supreme Novices Hurdle, but as low as 5-4 in places. So Ballyburn probably want to be getting the Irish punters and the Irish horses off to a great start at the Cheltenham Festival in 5 weeks' time. A Grade 1 with 2 runners, both trained by Mullins, and 1 finisher is not a good look for any race anywhere in the UK or Ireland or in the world. Let's have it right. But that's what we got on Sunday with the novice chase between Gaelic Warrior, who was 4-7, and Factor File, who eventually went on to win the race at 6-4. I mean, Gaelic Warrior again jumped to his right to the surprise of absolutely no one. He misbehaved at the start. He misbehaved in the race. He actually unshipped Paul Townend at the last, but let's be honest, the race was already over by then. Factor File made his move down the back straight at Leopardstown, went clear, and then when Warrior had already packed up, to be honest, and yeah, the race was pretty much over. But again, he did unship Gaelic Warrior, so that is going to be another blot on his copybook. Factor File is now 7-2 for the Brown Advisory Novices Chase, which is over 3 miles at Cheltenham, and is 2-1 for the Turners Chase, which is over 2.5 miles. So the market suggests that at the moment, Factor File, having won over 2.5 miles at the weekend in that 2-runner/1 runner race, is more likely to go to the Turners Novices Chase over 2.5. Willie said post race that JP, the owner, JP McManus, will be deciding which race he runs in at Cheltenham. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. But Factor File is a really horse, clearly thriving over fences, and went straight from the champion bumper last season, last March, straight to chasing. No hurdles for this fella. Straight into the chasing. Beginner's chase, won. Grade 1, won. Got to be impressed with that. Gaelic Warrior was 11-10 for that Turners on Sunday morning, but is now as big as 8-1 following what happened at the weekend. He's clearly a tricky character, this Gaelic Warrior. Misbehaved before the race, got a bit warm in the preliminaries, I'm told by people that were there. And then he obviously misbehaved in the race as well, jumping to his right again, unshipping at the last. But let's have it right. This Gaelic Warrior is a 2-time Grade 1 winner in his own right. Is a 2-time Cheltenham Festival runner-up in his own right. So I think Gaelic Warrior is still a player in the Turners. Obviously, Cheltenham is left-handed, like Leopardstown, so that's not going to help him for sure. And he jumped right there last year when he was over hurdles, Gaelic Warrior as well. And it has got worse since he's gone over fences. The larger obstacles, he's shifting to the right whilst he's in the air or in takeoff, has got worse. But he's got to be a player in that Turners market. You look at it, it's wide open at the moment in the betting. And yeah, 8-1, I think he's a player, particularly if Factor File doesn't run. The market currently suggests that Factor File will run in the Turners, given his shorter price for that than his other option, the Brown Advisory. But I do think keep an eye on Gaelic Warrior. He could be a player in that market, both anti-post and on the day. The other odds-on shot of the weekend, not trained by William Mullins, was Marine Nationale in the Irish Arkle. Last year's Supreme Novices winner at the Cheltenham Festival was sent off 4-7 for the Irish Arkle over the weekend, but he was really disappointing, very disappointing. He looked beaten a long way from home. He emptied pretty quickly. A bad mistake at the last. The race was probably already gone, but a bad mistake at the last, and pretty much gave up after that. He could only manage fifth, this Marine Nationale, 4-7 out to 11-4 for the Arkle. On this side of the pond, the Arkle, the Cheltenham Festival Arkle, which is in 5 weeks' time. I was expecting a bigger move than that, to be honest. I mean, I was surprised he was 4-7 already anti-post, given that he'd only won a beginner's chase. We've only seen Marine Nationale twice this season, a beginner's chase that he was long odds on for anyway, I think about 1-3. Then into this Grade 1 event, 4-7. It was 4-7. And yeah, he just got beat. It was a disappointing performance, and I thought he would be bigger in the anti-post markets for the Cheltenham Festival Arkle than he is currently. He's still probably favourite really across the board, 11-4, 5-2 ish. I wouldn't be touching him on Saturday's evidence. That was not good at all. Of course, Willie Mullins trained the eventual winner of that Marine Nationale race in Il Ete Tomps. He brought a decent standard of form to the table beforehand, to be honest. He's 12-1 into 5-1 for the Arkle in what looks a wide open market, as I've already said. So, let me know your comments. Who you're going to think is the Arkle winner at this stage. Wide open Grade 1 at the Cheltenham Festival. And there's some other bets to, of course, be involved in as well. There's plenty of Cheltenham content on Racers Now. Just a quick update there on what happened over the weekend with all those Grade 1s. And yes, it was Willie Mullins dominating once again. We'll be back soon with SD, hopefully on Monday evening, looking ahead to the action at Newbury this Saturday, where you've got the Betfair Hurdle and the Denman Chase, which could see Shishkin back in action. So thanks for watching, and we'll be back soon with more racing content on Race.